Hey guys, my name's Josh. These are the Dragan Toe Hooks. Dragon, however you say it. I just want to show you guys how to make these mounts. It's not hard to make. This metal cost me 20 bucks. And it's super easy to make. This is about a 6-inch piece. I drilled a hole and then I drilled a little bit bigger just to give it a little taper. So now what I'm gonna do is underneath here, under this part, I'm gonna draw a line and then I'm gonna start my bend just a little past that line, and then I'm gonna keep doing that. I'll show you as we go along. It's pretty easy. So I drew my line. I cut just a little bit down so I can bend it. And then later I'm gonna weld that back up just to give it a little bit more strength back. So the first thing to do now is to bend it. Just put it in like a vise, something like this. And just bend it until you get it to wrap around this part. You don't want it to be touching though, to keep it off. You want it to be off this just a little ways. Okay, so now I have it kind of bent how I want it. There's just a tiny bit of gap there, which is what I want. So now the next part, I'm gonna draw a line up here somewhere, probably right there. Let's see, yeah, right there. Kind of where the two pieces change. See, it's not like perfectly straight. So I'm gonna put another bend there to start going back towards the pad. So I'll do the same thing. I'll cut a slit into the metal, bend it, and just, you kind of have to play with it until you get the bend right. It's not hard. And if you over bend it, you can always bend it back. I plan to use the welder to weld the slits back into place, and then I'll grind it back down a little bit, so it'll be plenty strong enough. So I got my second cut in there. I went ahead and welded this side, because once I get it bent, it's gonna be hard to get in there to weld. And then just kind of grind it back down, that way it doesn't hit the bumper. Doesn't really matter what it looks like, it's gonna be covered, so don't worry about the welds. So now we're gonna bend this second cut. Okay, so we got the next piece on. It's just bolted there. It's just a slight bend on this one. It's not very much, but if you look down in there, you can see there's a slight gap. You don't want it touching your bumper or your foot pad. You want a little bit of room. So now the next thing we need to do is figure out our next cut, or well, not our next cut, but our next bend. So just draw a line through here, and then that should tell us where our next bend is at. So I'll do the same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and weld this side up, grind it back down, then I'll cut a slit here, and then start my next bend. Okay, so the next bend I've got a gap all the way around. So this is where it gets a little trickier. So you have to get on your board. What you gotta do is kind of get these where you want them, because you can pull it this way, or up here. You kind of got to figure out where you place your feet. Normally when I ride, my foot's somewhere in there. So I want the tow hook to sit right on my foot. I'm gonna angle it just a little. That way it gives me a little more of a hook on my foot. So now what I need to do is put a bend somewhere over here, and where it slightly tilts the tow hook towards my foot just a little. I went ahead and cut out the plate to hold the hook on. Just gonna bolt it there, and then we can kind of figure out how I want to weld it to this other piece. What angle. I can put any angle. I can have it flat, I can have it tilted a little, I can have it tilted a lot. However I want to do it. I still got to put a bend in this piece, but I'm just getting this other piece ready, because this is going to weld to this, and then the other side. Okay, I'm kind of jumping around here, keep changing my mind on how I want to do this. So I got the plate made for that. I got this side bent. There's still one more slice and bend I need to make here, but I want to get this one started just so I can kind of figure out exactly where this needs to go and how much to bend it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this one to make it match this. Same process, just keep it off the bumper and your foot pad just a hair. So I'm gonna start with that. Okay, so I got the other bracket bent. Left a little gap in there. So kind of mark this out where I want to put the bends. This thing is going to sit somewhere like that, but I need to tilt it that way. So I'm going to put a bend here and then a bend here. And it might not work, I don't know. Got to test it and see. But we're going to try that and see what happens. So I finally got these bent, I think, the way I want them. So if you're keeping these flat, it's easy. But I'm wanting this to angle just a little down into the foot. So it gets a little tricky doing it that way, but I think I got it figured out. So I can weld this to these other pieces now, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, I finally got this done. I got the angle I want. It's just got a little bit of angle to it. That's pretty much it. Okay, so here's the finished part of it. I welded some nuts down here. That way I could just screw it and unscrew it from the top. It's a lot easier that way. Let's see if I can. So we still got our gaps up front. We're not hitting anywhere. And then my shoe fits in there pretty nice. It wraps around it just a little, just enough to help hold it in place. That's pretty much it. Hopefully this helps. You got the rear one done. It was a little more tricky because this comes up higher. So you can't go down, or else you won't be able to slide this off. So you kind of got to go straight and then angle it down. But turned out good. I'm happy with it. So that's pretty much it. So that's back. And then the front,